Tuko tayari? Safi. Netwa. Okay. Jambo and welcome at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery. This is a center that takes care of orphan baby elephants and orphan baby rhinos, and later on reintroducing them back into the world. It is at 3 p.m. in Kenya, and we're about to bring you baby elephants being fed live on the bottles. We've got 12 in the nursery at the moment. They're all orphans, and that's why they're here. They've been rescued from different parts of the country, and they all have different reasons for being orphans. Some of them, the mothers have been killed by poachers due to trade on ivory, and some have been separated from their families by human beings, what we call human-wildlife conflict. And very few of them, the mothers have died from natural reasons like old age, natural diseases, and starvation back into the world. And all this happening to the mothers when the babies are still very young, at an age where they would not have survived without the mother's milk and also without protection against other dangers. And so that is why we rescue them, so that we can hand-rear them here in the nursery for approximately 3 years. And any time after the age of 3, start to reintroduce them back into the world. And we'll always reintroduce them to Tsavo East National Park and Kibwezi Forest. The process of reintroducing them takes quite a long time, a minimum of about 5 years, before they start to make friends among the wild herds. And it takes this long period because it depends on the different characters of different elephants. It also depends on the reasons that have caused them to be left orphans, and also their age when they became orphans. That's why some might take a minimum of about 5 years before they start to make friends among the wild herds. Others might take as long as up to about 10 years before they join the wild families. But we've got 3 reintroduction centers with our keepers who will monitor them, who will take care of them, who will be following them until the time they get adopted. And once they get adopted, they'll be trained, they'll be protected, they'll be warned against human beings by the wild elephants. And so they will have become as wild as any other elephant out there. And when we see that happen, we can say we've achieved our target, because the main target is to rescue them, hand-rear them, and later on reintroducing them back into the world. Welcome to the baby elephants. Now we've got 3 coming in, running for the bottles. They know it is feeding time. They are in a hurry to get the bottles, and that's why the first elephant to come in, as always, it is Mukoka, who is about 2 years old, who was rescued from northern part of Tsavo East National Park, who was left as an orphan while at the age of about 7-month-old. And that's why we rescued him. And we rescued him at 7 months because an elephant out in the world will need the mother's milk for a minimum of about 2 years. Some will go up to 2.5 or 3. But below 2, without a mother, one cannot survive. They still need the mother's milk. They need the mother's milk and also need protection against other dangers. So that is why one has to be rescued. And that's why Mukoka had to be rescued. And right now, he's about 2 years old. He's got 1 more here before he starts the process of being reintroduced back into the world. At the far end, we've got Naboishu, who is almost 2 years old. And Naboishu was rescued from the Masai Mara. He was identified in the company or in a herd of other elephants, but the mother had died from a natural disease, and that's why he was an orphan. If a mother dies while with the rest of the family members, the other family members will help protect and care for the young one, but will never provide milk. A lactating female does not want to jeopardize the status of her own baby for the sake of another one, and that's why Naboishu would not have survived, despite the fact that he had the care and protection of the rest of the herd. And that's the reason why he had to be rescued. Right now he's almost 2 years old, and so far doing all right in the nursery. We do have Laro at the far end, and Laro is about 2 years old. Laro was rescued from the Masai Mara or Laro Conservancy, identified all alone within this conservancy, believed to have been separated from her family by human beings when she was about 8 months, and so she's a victim of human-wildlife conflict. Due to increase in the population of man or human beings compared to the space of land, There's lots of conflicts between the communities neighboring the parks and lots of other wild animals. And that is why in that process of the fights and the conflicts, sometimes the mothers are killed. Sometimes the mothers are separated from the young ones. And later on, if a young one is identified all alone, then one has to be rescued. And if not identified, by bad luck, maybe one will starve to death or can be attacked by the hyenas and the lions out there. So that is why Lara was very lucky to be identified, and we had to come in and help rescue her. We do have the latest arrival in the nursery, an elephant by the name Olorian, who is almost 1.5 years old, who is a very polite girl, who was rescued from the Masai Mara and also identified all alone, who's been in the nursery for almost 3 months now, who was very thin, skinny, and skeleton when she came in. But we thank God that she's doing well. She's improving very well. She's gained a lot of weight. She's got some meat on the body compared to the skeleton when she came in. And we are happy that she become a strong girl and will be able to go back into the world after some time, almost 18 months at the moment. A very polite, gentle, and quiet elephant. We do have Ziwadi at the end, and Ziwadi is about 2 years old. Ziwadi was rescued from the Masai Mara. She was identified all alone, believed to have been abandoned or left behind by the rest of the family members for reasons that we could not tell by then. But after some time, she was discovered to be epileptic, and so she goes into seizures. When she goes down, the rest of the family might have left her behind, and that's why she was discovered later on. We are happy that she's improving. We are praying that by the time she's 3 years, she'll be back to normal and she'll be able to join the rest of the wild elephants out in Tsavo. We are being joined by Naleku, the youngest in the nursery at the moment. And Naleku is slightly over a year old. Naleku was rescued from the Masai Mara after the mother had died from a natural disease, left alone at the age of about 6 months. And that's why we rescued her. Right now she's slightly over a year old. A very strong character elephant, very independent and very determined. An elephant who wants to do her own things despite her age and also size. An elephant who tries to wrestle around with Roho, who is older, a difference of half a year older. But she struggles to be strong enough for Roho as well. So she's doing well in the nursery. We are happy for that. And we believe she'll make a very strong matriarch when she becomes old, because she has a strong character already at the moment. We do have the oldest elephant in the nursery at the moment next to me. Her name is Maisha. She's over 3 years old. She's the oldest in the nursery, and that makes her to become the leader or the matriarch. And this is because by natural instinct, when they're out in the world, the oldest female automatically becomes the leader. She was rescued from Tsavo Conservation Area, and the mother is believed to have died from starvation due to drought, and that's why she was left all alone at the age of about 8 months. We are happy to note that after Tagwa and Tamiyoi left the nursery, she took over the leadership role, and she's perfectly playing it very well. She's very responsible for all the young ones, though she gives priority to Roho, and this is because Roho was badly affected after seeing what happened to the mother, and so was over traumatized and over stressed, and that's why she gives priority to Roho. But so far she's very responsible for all the others as well. We are happy that she's ready to go back into the world. She was very skinny and skeleton when she came in. She's an elephant who could collapse every now and then, 2-3 times in a night. But seeing her strong at the moment and playing a matriarchal role gives a lot of morale, a lot of courage in what we're doing, and makes us to do it more, because we can see the fruits of doing it by seeing her playing a big role and being strong and healthy. We shall be more excited seeing her out in the world at some point. Coming in smaller groups, depending with the number of keepers that are ready to feed them, just because they know it is feeding time, and when they all come here, they need to have the bottles ready. And so that is why we have to ensure that when they come in, there's somebody ready to give them milk. We do have 3 running in for the bottles, being led by Nabulu. And Nabulu is the second oldest in the nursery at the moment. She's about 3 years old. She was rescued from the Masai Mara, identified all alone, and also observed and protected for some time, hoping that she will be reunited with her family, something that never happened. And sometimes when you find a young one all alone, you first of all have to search for the mother or the rest of the family members, because in some cases we can't tell exactly what happened since we find the babies all alone. In other cases we find the mothers injured or dead, and so we know exactly what happened. In Nabulu's case, no other herd of elephants around, and she was all alone and very thin, which meant that she had stayed for a long time without the mother's milk, and that's why her health status had deteriorated very much. So that is the reason to why she had to be brought to the nursery. She was about a year old, and right now approximately 3 years old, assisting Maisha to take on the role of the leadership in the nursery. We do have Maktau trying to hold the bottle by himself. At the age of 2.5 to 3 years, they already start to learn to hold the bottles all by themselves. That is a character that is perfected by different elephants depending with how smart they are. They're all smart. All elephants are very intelligent, they're very smart, but some are more smarter than others. And that's why you might realize some of the big ones can hold the bottle by themselves, others cannot. Just like human beings, we are not the same. We are not equal. So Maktau is only 2.5 years, and Maktau was rescued from Sava Conservation Area, a place called Maktau, and found in our community. An evidence that his being orphan was involved by human beings. And that's why we suspect he's a victim of human-wildlife conflict. Being at the age of about 3 months meant that he could not have survived all alone out there. And that's why we had to come in and ensure that we give him a second chance to survive out into the world. I do have Rojo enjoying the mud all by himself right here. And I'm happy to note that at some point Rojo is trying to play all by himself. Before that, he's been always attached to the big girls, and he could do nothing in the absence of the big girls. But you can see he's enjoying the mud all by himself. He's about 1.5 years old, and Rojo was rescued from Sava West National Park. The mother is believed to have been killed by poachers, and he saw everything that happened, and that caused a lot of trauma and stress to him, and that is why he was badly affected, and he stayed for a long time until we can say at the moment we can see an improvement on him trying to learn to be independent. We do have in front of Rojo a Kiasa, and Kiasa is an elephant with all-round character, both positive and negative. And she's an elephant that will make a big and strong matriarch in the world because she's very independent. She does what she wants to do. Once she makes her mind, that is what she wants, and she goes for it. And she was rescued from Savo. She came in the nursery at 8 months. She's now about 3 years old, at an age where any time from now she can go back into the world and start the process of being reintroduced. The duration that they take before joining the other wild elephants varies from one elephant to the other, and this depends on the different characters, depends on what caused them to be left orphans, and also the age when they became orphans. When they live in the nursery, the bigger elephants in the nursery, and being a female, most of them have been taking the leadership role. When they go down to Savo, they now become babies, and some of them are more excited to be taken care of. All the leadership responsibilities have been taken off from their shoulders, and so they become mothers being taken care of by the bigger ex-orphans down in Savo. But some of them, it is also a challenging time, being a leader and all of a sudden being taken off all your powers. They might be sad or stressed for some time because they cannot control the crowd anymore. But to a bigger extent, they are happy because they're being taken care of. So we've got all the 12 elephants in the nursery before us now. we do have a Kiombo at the far end. Maybe we've got Kiombo's foster parents and they're wondering why we didn't talk about Kiombo. Kiombo is about almost 3 years, and Kiombo was rescued from the Masai Mara, identified alone within the park. He's right at the far end back directly here. That makes a total of 12 elephants, all orphans from different parts of the country with different reasons for being orphans, and that's why they were rescued, brought here. When they come in the nursery, we have to provide a 24-hour care to them all day out in the park. All the bushes you can see around is part of Nairobi National Park. So they go out every day from 6 in the morning, always accompanied by the keepers, and come back for bed at 5 in the evening. Rolling down in the dust is Laro. And standing next to Laro, the small one is Naleku, and the big one is Kiasa. So if you're joining us now, welcome. We are at the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, Nairobi Nursery. 12 baby elephants before us now. The elephants are fed 8 times throughout the day. That is 24 hours. Every 3 hours they get a bottle of milk. Some will get 1, some will get 2, depending with their age and character. Spending the whole day out in the park and doing what they want to do as elephants. Remember, we don't train them on anything. We set them free out in the park and follow them behind and see, observe what they're doing, and let them do what they want to do as elephants. Remember, most behaviors in elephants are instinct. They just need direction and they know what to do. And that is why we have our keepers to follow them all day out in the park. The milk is taken out to where they are out in the park, apart from when we bring them here at the moment for this live viewing. Coming back for bed at 5 in the evening, each elephant having their own stable stockade. Those elephants that are under the age of 2 years having a keeper, spending the night in the rooms for the purpose of trying to protect, trying to provide the closeness that they have lost, that companion, that close relationship. You know, elephants are social animals, and if they've already lost their families, they've already lost the mothers, and when they come here, they're stressed and traumatized for that having happened to them. And that's why we, the keepers, take the role of the mother, and that's why we have to be with them all day and all night as well. So that is why they need somebody in the rooms at night. They also need a keeper to feed them, if it is every 3 hours or on demand if they're very young. And for those that are still young, also need a keeper to cover them with blankets to make sure that they're kept warm. Because when they're still young, they're very much susceptible to pneumonia, which is a threat to young elephants, because you cannot tell the signs in advance. You always realize when it's too late, and you can't tell the signs because an elephant cannot cough, and they can't cough because the lungs are attached to ribcage. So that's why you realize when it's too late by seeing some water dropping from the trunk, and by the time you see that, it's already too late. When they're out in the wild, the young ones are always surrounded by the rest of the herd, and that helps them to get heat from all the bigger ones. But here in the nursery, they're all orphans, they're all young. That's why we have the stables and the stockades, each elephant having one, to ensure that they're protected from dangers out there. Also, they're kept warm, and also they're being fed at night as well. Still rolling down is Rojo. Combo next to me on my left, dusting himself. So the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust does not only take care of orphan elephants and rhinos, but we do have other projects that we undertake. For example, we've got mobile veterinary units, we've got anti-poaching teams, we've got community projects we've got a dog unit, we've got the aerial surveillance, and all this is working together with the Kenya Wildlife Service to ensure that all animals are safe within the parks, to ensure that the parks are safe to have all the wild animals. And that is why if there is any injured animal within the park, our mobile veterinary unit will fly to the scene or will drive to the scene to go and treat the injured animal, and immediately after treatment set them free to continue with their own natural life. That is why our anti-poaching teams will patrol the parks together with the Kenya Wildlife Service rangers to ensure that there are no poachers in the parks, there are no snares in the parks are safe, there are no people burning charcoal, so that the parks are safe for all wild animals. And that is why we've got a community project that will go around the communities that are neighboring the park and the reserve, giving them education on how to coexist and stay peacefully neighboring one another with these wild animals. And this community project is very important because at the moment, the major reason or the main reason that is causing most of them to be left orphans is human-wildlife conflict. We've got our dog unit that works together with our anti-poaching teams to ensure that there are no poachers out in the parks. We've got our aerial surveillance that will patrol the parks. If there are signs of illegalities going on within the parks, they will inform the rangers on the ground who will go and find out what is happening and help correct it. So that is to ensure that all animals are safe out there, not only elephants, not only rhinos, all animals are protected. Kiombo right in front, feeding on the branches. If you look at how he's using his trunk, the trunk of an elephant is the hand as well as the nose. The elephants will breathe through the trunk. Now trying to dust in the dust pile, lying down. They'll also use the trunk to get the dust and blow it on the back, or spray it on the back. A roho also rolling down on the other side. Maisha right in the middle. You see how Roho uses his trunk perfectly. Though at this age his trunk is not fully developed to do everything perfectly, and that's why you can see the keepers trying to help everyone around, trying to throw the dust using the shovel. An elephant, a fully grown elephant, can hold about 150 liters of water in the trunk. I mean, not 150, 15 liters of water in the trunk. And an elephant can take up to about 150 liters of water in a day. They can hold 15 liters of water in the trunk at one go. This is for a fully grown elephant. Also, Kiombo showing off his tusks. He's got very thick tusks compared to all the others. The size of the tusks will vary from one elephant to the other depending with the genes, and the tusks will grow as long as the elephant is going. The two big boys close together, Kiombo and Maktau. So you might have realized that the elephants are wandering away because they know it is their time to walk away. And I would like just to let you know, you might be interested in supporting the work that is being done by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. You're highly welcomed. You only need to go on the website, find out how you can donate. You can do that in form of adopting an elephant, which is costing a minimum of $50 a year. And once you do that, we will open an account for you, and we'll be updating your account every month letting you know how your elephant is doing, plus all the others in the nursery. We'll also send you the keeper's diary, which is written every day by the keepers, telling different stories from different orphans, and all that will be brought to you on monthly basis online. You'll also get a watercolor painting, which is done by Angela Sheldrick. That will be brought to you on monthly basis online. So you can adopt an elephant for yourself, or you can do it as a gift to a friend. And if you do it as a gift, it is a gift recipient that will receive the updates every month. But if you do it for yourself, then it's you that will receive the updates every month. You can also support the work that is done by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust by buying a bottle of milk for these elephants, or by donating towards the other projects that are done by the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, like our anti-poaching teams, our mobile veterinary units, our community project, our dog unit, our aerial surveillance. And all that will be ensuring that all animals are safe and protected out in the parks. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I want to believe you've enjoyed what we brought before you today right in your sitting room. We will let the elephants go out in the park and continue with the rest of the day. And thank you very much for supporting us, and thank you for joining us. Continue to keep safe as we shall continue to take care of these baby elephants. Kwaheri na asanti sana.